In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the outside air temperature sensor with this wiring harness connector on this BMW 328i. Let's get into it. We're going to take these screws out, use a T30 socket. And take these weather strips off. Using a 8mm socket, we want to take these screws out. Take this panel down. Some screws on the side. Some more in the back. And grab the panel and slide it down. These two on the sides, same 8mm socket. That's going to be loose. Do the same on the other side. We're going to remove the wheel, use a 17mm socket, take the lug bolts out. Once I get to the last one, I'm just going to hold the wheel on, take that off, and pull the wheel off. We're going to remove this inner fender well. I'm just going to use a 8mm socket, take these screws out. Right there. And use a 10mm socket, take this nut off. And pull that down. Disconnect the fog light connector. Just push on the tabs on the side. You can use some pliers if you need to. Release that. Disconnect that connector. There's a retainer right here. Pull that off. There's another retainer right there. Actually, that one's okay. We can leave that, leave those there. Just put that to the side. Disconnect the parking sensor. Push down on the tab. Slide that off. That comes out. Using a 8mm socket, take these two screws out. Now you can get under here with a trim tool. Slide this out. And hold that out. And then you just want to pop it to the side. It comes right off. These just unclip to the side, just like that. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. And just grab the bumper cover, slide it forward. And you're going to have to disconnect the other parking sensors. Same on the other side. And the cover slides right off. Right here, we're just going to fold this up. You can see the sensors right there. Just with a pick. Just going to get on the side. It's going to unclip. You can pull it up. You can disconnect the connector. Just push down on the tab. Slide the sensor off. You can take the new connector and see it's very similar to the old one. And the wire colors, the fact that there's no color on the wire, you want to make sure that you line these wires up and connect this one, this is the left one, to the blue and orange wire, and then the blue and red wire would be on this one. So you want to peel back the electrical tape, and then you want to splice this in so that it's in the same location as the old one. Now when we're going to connect these together, you want to stagger this a little bit. You don't want a bunch of butt connectors right in one area. So we're going to connect these wires here and then cut the other wire over here a little bit, just so they're not all bunched together. Like that. Just use some wire cutters. And then we want to strip away the insulation. You can use some wire strippers, just like that. You can do both ends. There we go. It helps just to twist the wires because it's easier to get them in the connectors. All right. So you can use insulated butt connectors like this, or if you have butt connectors that are not insulated, it's a good idea to use a little shrink wrap. So put the shrink wrap over first and put the connector in. Put the wire in the connector. Slide that all the way on. And then you're going to have to use some wire crimpers and just crimp it down. And give it a tug, make sure it's tight. Do the other end of the wire. And crimp this side down. Give it a wiggle, that's tight. Now we'll do the insulated one on this side, just so you see the difference. Crimp it down. Slide the wire in. Crimp that down. Give it a wiggle, that's good. Slide the shrink wrap over the connector. And we're going to shrink these up. We're just going to use a heat gun. You can use a torch if you have a torch, or a butane soldering iron that has that function where you can use it on shrink wrap. Let that sit for a minute. That's cooled down. You can see how they're staggered, so you're not going to have a big ball of connectors in one area. So if you had 6 wires, you just want to stagger them while you go down the line. That's going to make it better. Then you want to take some electrical tape and get that started. And just try to wrap it as tight as possible. There you go. You can go as far as the wiring harness goes, and that's your repair for your wire connector. Take the new sensor, plug the connector in, take the sensor, and just line it up, lock it in place. Now take the bumper cover, get it close. You're going to connect those connectors for the sensors, for the parking sensors. Lock those in. Same on the other side. Lock that in. Get this lined up. Get the bumper lined up. Do that on both sides. And just grab the headlight washer. I'm just using a pick. You can grab it underneath there. Then grab it with your hand. Put the cover on. This little tab goes on the bottom. You just take the cover to the side and just kind of twist it on. The pins will line up. Just release it slowly. And take the 2 screws, get those started. Make sure it's lined up with the fender. Snug those down. Connect the connector to the parking sensor. Lock that down. And the sensor, or the other connector for the fog lights. Plug that in, take the retainer and push that in place. Take the inner fender liner, get that lined up. Looks good. Get all the bolts started. Get these started. Put that nut on. And you can tighten these all down. And we can do the same on the other side. Put the screws in underneath. Tighten those down. And we can do the same on the other side. I'll slide this panel in place. Get the bolts started. Now tighten those down. Line it up. Get the studs, lug studs started. Snug those down. Now I'm going to torque the lug bolts to 90 foot-pounds in a cross pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. Just go around again, double check. Then we can do the same on the other side. Put these screws in. Yeah, snug those down. Now take the weather strip, get that lined up, push that down, do the same on this side.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.